Hey guys, I'm back again. I thought I would do a quick video and show you the bunnies again. Show you this one again. Now I won't be making any of these for my shop because this idea came from Rachel over at Roxy Creations, and she has a pattern in her shop, and she probably did a much better job. Well, from her picture, she did a much better job making them than I did. This was my first attempt, okay? And I just used some linen and some of my fabric, pieces, and I used yarn up here. I'm not sure. I think she probably used embroidery thread. So this one I tried yarn, and obviously he's fat. He's too big, but I'm just gonna keep him like it is. I'll probably keep this one for myself. This is just kind of my little prototype, my first experiment. So that was the first one. Then this was the second one, and as you can see here, I'll probably give this to one of the girls, but on this one, I got him smaller, okay, so I did a little bit better job on him, and I did not stuff the little ears and arms and legs, which I think on her pattern, I don't think she stuffs them. Like, I'm just guessing because I didn't buy the pattern. I just kind of challenged myself to see if I could do it without purchasing the pattern. I probably should because it's not expensive. And if you guys like this or you love doing stuff like this, I highly recommend you go over to her shop and look at some of the things that she was making, I think, before she really got big into doing junk journals. I'm sure a lot of you that watch me are familiar with her. She's over in Italy, and she's super, super talented, and she does some really amazing things. And she's got some really cute sewing things in her shop. If you look back further beyond her digitals in her shop, she has some little bears, and she used to make the drawstring bags, which I purchased one a long time ago when I first found her shop. But anyway, I'm gonna link her. I'm gonna link her shop again, and her Etsy channel to this video. So if you're not aware of her, you can go check her out. But so on this one, I did a little bit better. I got the size right, but this is a little thin because you can kind of see I used a hemp twine on this one to do the eyes and the little whiskers, and you can kind of see my knots. You may not be able to see it, but I can see it. Still cute, for a little kid. I'm not that concerned about it. But so that was my second attempt, and then I used yarn to stitch the little X's and the little nose. I have a tons of yarn that Phaedra sent me, so I'm trying to use some of that up. But then I think I got it kind of like I want it on my third attempt. So I didn't do the little X's here. I stitched these pieces of fabric together, and I doubled up my linen so that when I did the eyes and the whiskers, you can't really see the work behind it. And I think I did a little bit better on this one. I'm really pleased with this one, so I'm going to make a couple of more for my grandkids. So this was just a project that I wanted to do for them for Easter, to put in their Easter baskets, because I don't know, most of my family, they really appreciate the homemade things. The kids really love it, so they're all pretty creative. I hope Sophie ends up being that way too. Peyton is really creative, and Oakland really loves little things like this, and I'm sure Sophie will too. But so I really like the way this little guy turned out. So I used a couple of fabrics. I used some eyelet fabric here, some more of that yellow, which I had a ton of this. I've shared it, I've used it, I've put it in books, I still have pieces of it. And this was a piece of a cross stitch linen. So I just thought this one turned out really super cute. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and direct you over to her channel. These are just really, they're fun little projects, and they don't take long. I did these last night. I did this the night before. So anyway, just something I wanted to try, and I'm gonna make a couple more. I'll share them with you, but I wanted to show you that. Let me know what you think. I really think this little guy, I think they're all cute, okay, in their own way. They're all really cute, and they're fun. And then I stuffed them with just a polyfill, and you don't need a lot of it. You really don't need a lot of things. You can use all kinds of stuff, for these. Your fabric scraps, you don't have to use linen up here. You can use other solid colors. I've got other stuff. I may try some other different things just for fun and see how they turn out. You can use yarn. You can use embroidery thread for this stuff. You can use regular thread. It doesn't have to be as distinct as these are. You can make your noses. You could sew these things on if you know how to do that through your machine and then stitch them together. Just a lot of different things you could do. Anyway, I wanted to show y'all those. Y'all let me know what you think. And then while I'm here, I thought I would show you this journal as well. Now, I've made 3 other journals similar to this with different fabrics and different types of ties. They're similar. They're all the same style. Just using different things as far as the covers go. And then the insides are very similar as well. And I'll be putting those other ones, I'll video those and show you those other ones when I reopen my shop. I'm not doing that right now, but I'm just working on a lot of stuff for now. So for this one, this one I made for me. So this was kind of the prototype for these journals. And I just there was a sheet that somebody sent me in Happy Mail. And part of the sheet at the end had this piece on it that had all these little, just like little circles stitched on, okay, kind of like embroidered on. They're hand embroidered. You can tell by the knots. And then all these little hand embroidered flowers. And it looks like even after they did it, they kind of went back. Well, no, they're all hand embroidered. That's my stitching. Duh. Anyway, so I cut those pieces off, the flowers, and added a few of them on the tie. And then some of my vintage laces and doily flowers and stuff like that. Little scraps of other cross-stitch pieces. This actually came in some fabric that I got a long time ago from Rachel Everett Roxy Creations as well. I've used that in bits and pieces. So that's the tie, and it's sewn on here. So it's sewn on the inside here, and then it just wraps. It just wraps around and just tucks, okay? So very simple and lots of room to grow. I made that really long so that this thing, this is another one of those journals that can grow, and this is another attempt to use up, like this journal that I showed you guys the other day, like this one. So this is another attempt to use up a lot of this stuff that I've collected. I am shopping my stash and using up things. So did the same concept as I did that other journal, and I put 2 file folders together and then stitched them onto this fabric after I glued. I used a little bit of glue. I didn't use a ton of glue to glue this is a sheet. Actually, it was a pillowcase. I think it was a vintage pillowcase that also came in Happy Mail. I've gotten so many beautiful things in Happy Mail that I wanted to use. So on this one, I just folded this up and I stitched around it before I adhered it to here. I stitched here across the top just to make that, I flipped it over and stitched it and then put it on the cover and then stitched all the way around it. So super simple. And this concept, I actually got this idea from Johanna, who's a person that I watch. I watch her faithfully. I watch her journal and I watch her when she puts out collections that she's made. She's just really, really super cool to watch, and she has a ton of ideas. She made a fabric journal similar to this. It's been a couple of years ago, and I've always sort of wanted to try it. Now, I didn't do it exactly the way she did. She used another kind of backing, but I just used what I had. And then inside, I just used some more of I have 2 Edith Holden books that I'm trying to use those up. I have, you know, deli paper, writing paper, little scraps of wallpaper, some scrapbook paper. There might be a little bit more scrapbook paper in this one than the last one, but not a ton of it. More of that beautiful ledger from Renee, tea-dyed paper, bird book pages. I had some policy envelopes that Jessica Rapp had sent me, and then I purchased some more. And little bits and pieces of all these things in my stash that I've just tucked in here to use in this journal. This is a graphics fairy image that I backed onto a light chipboard to give it some sturdiness. And then I just tucked in some little tags. This came in a Happy Mail a while ago. This is off of a piece of clothing that I really like the tag, so I saved it. I stitched a piece of wallpaper. This wallpaper was fairly brittle, so I just stitched it on there because I like the color. Now I've got a little envelope here that I can put things in. You know, some more of the pages from that book, from that poetry book. These are some little glassine pieces. They're like long envelopes that Jessica Rapp sent me. So now some of them, I think what she did was, I think she had some larger ones and she cut them in half to make long ones. So this part needed to be shut again. So I just used some washi, fabric washi that I made here. Stuck some little cards in there, journaling cards. This is cardstock, graph paper, tea-dyed writing paper, more beautiful ledger, wallpaper, and then there's a few pieces of Tim Holtz paper, and then I did my little buttons. Went through my button stash and picked out ones that I really liked to go in here. So just same old kind of stuff, you know. And then, you know, I have envelopes in my stash. This is one that was addressed to my mother that I found going through some old things, and I wanted to use it, so love the aging on it. And then this was one of the last Tim Holtz pieces I had from one of those little embellishment kits. More wallpaper. I just stitched it in as a flip this way on the bird page. I stitched all the way around this, so it actually is a pocket up here if I wanted to put stuff in there, but I stitched around that to give it a little more sturdiness. And then just stick some little bits and pieces in. And then of course the Edith Holden pages are so pretty. So just pick some of my favorite ones. Some more of the dyed paper from Darkwood Sanctuary, Amy. Here, I messed up again. So I did the envelope wrong. I stitched it this way, but that's okay. It serves as a tuck. Not a big deal. Serves as a tuck on that side. This was left over from another project. I just stitched it and made a pocket, and then folded another book page and stitched it as well. So it's actually a pocket, and a pocket. So there's three little spaces that you can tuck things in there. Some tracing paper that I tea-dyed. This is printable. I think that may have come from Rachel at Roxy Creations too, that I printed out, and I just cut it square. Put that in here. That was just a piece that was in kind of one of my bags of stuff that I was saving. So here's a bird book page, and on the back side of that, I stitched one of my envelopes that I have. It's like a sandwich bag envelope, and just stuck some little pieces in here that I can use. Vintage map, more tea-dyed, more graph, Tim Holtz, buttons in the signature. So this is just super, super fun, and just little scraps. So I stitched that, folded it over, stitched it here. So it makes a little pocket here, and it makes a pocket here. This was something I had. This is something I had. It's like a fabric butterfly that I actually adhered to some lightweight chipboard that's been in my stash, and I thought maybe I might use that some way in here. I just clipped it. Just all kinds of stuff, y'all. You can just take, you know, one of my pocket pages. This is a tag that came from Jessica Rapp in Happy Mail. And I stitched this little postcard. This is a graphics fairy image that I tea-dyed. So I just stitched it to the side of this pocket. So that's a tuck, and then this is a pocket, and then when I glue it down, it'll be a tuck behind there. This is a little paper clip that was in Happy Mail. I'm trying to use up my stuff and my Happy Mail yet again. Y'all want me to say that 500 times? Here's another piece of wallpaper and another dyed paper from Amy at Dartwood Sanctuary. So I also recently purchased, I had a customer contact me, and she's bought several of my journals, and she has a ton of stuff, and she asked me was I interested in some of the things that she had supply-wise. And so I bought some things from her. She has some really cool things, and I'll show you later some of the things, but I purchased some wallpaper pieces because these are really cool vintage pieces, and I don't find that around here. So I definitely bought some of that from her. Some more tea-dyed music, more of the kids' book page. These are some little pieces I think that also came in Happy Meal. They're like little frames. So I stitched down the bottom and I closed this part up, and then I stitched it here. So you have a pocket here, and then you can write in here. You can put a picture in here, and if you see there's a little circle. Some wallpaper. This is some cool kind of drawings and stuff that I purchased from Amy at a live sale. Here's another little scrap that I just stitched in with a little tag from the graphics fairy, and it also makes it so it makes a little tuck spot here and a tuck spot there. This is some craft consortium paper. They have some really cool paper. And it's a nice thickness, but it's not as thick as Tim Holtz, which I kind of like this thickness. It's sturdy enough, but it's not, it's kind of somewhere in between. So it's not as bulky as some of the thicker scrapbook papers. More of the Edith Holden. And these are some little postage stamp printables from Graphics Fairy that I put in here in a little scrap. So just fun stuff. And then I found these, I saw, and you can tell by, you know, all the shout outs to all the other shops and other YouTube channels that I get a lot of inspiration from you guys out there. And I saw this, I think it's Liz of the Paper Project. She was using this in something, and I found these on Amazon. These are super cool, and they would be cool just to fold over as well and use them, you know, like that in your book. But I stuck one of them in here. I just think they're really super cool. You'll see them in the books that I made for the shop like this. Another little scrap. I just stitched it. So, you know, not too complicated. There's some work involved, quite a bit of sewing. You know, this is just a leftover envelope from work. You know, I'll cover this up. Music paper. This came from a really old. I've still got a few pieces of this from my old 1920s folk song book. Some children's writing paper, graph, ledger, another Tim Holtz. So there's really only maybe about 8 pieces of scrapbook paper in here, and the rest of it is reusing other things that I have. And you know, just fun stuff. I love this wallpaper right here. Love the colors in that, and the designs are really cool. It's super vintage, super cool. And then in the back, I just stuck a whole bunch of things back here that I wanted to try to use in here. So this is a big pocket, you know, back here, and then this folds back over, and this folds back over, and you've got actually got a pocket here and a pocket here. I just haven't put anything in there. So as you can see, this will hold a lot, and this will probably be the other journal that I use this year. So this one and this one will be my journals for this year. So, and I've just got a bunch of other stuff tucked in that other journal. That's why it was so fat. But yeah. So this is just some of the things I've been working on. These little bunnies are super fun. Y'all should really go check them out. And I will do the video for these, but I'm not gonna post it until I've got my shop open back up. And the other three they're different from this one. They're super cool. You'll see those soon, okay? All right. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. And please stay safe and try to stay in if you can, so we can get through this stuff faster and we can get out and kind of resume our lives again through all this craziness. I hope you are all well and safe. Love you. Bye.